Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai Satcharitra, an insight. Episode 150. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan Brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnuhu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, in continuation to the previous episode, the Ramadasi sent by Sri Sai Baba to buy the senna pots was returning to the masjid, and this whole sport of Sri Sai Baba was witnessed by many, and one among them was Anna Chinchanikar, alias Anna Babre. An ardent devotee, but a very rough and straightforward person. He never cared for others' feelings and always expressed his thoughts plainly. Now, the Ramadasi entered the Dwarakamai with the senna pots, and the moment he came in, this Anna Chinchanikar told him, Ramadasi, do you know what happened in your absence? Sri Sai Baba took your Sri Vishnu Sahasranama book and gave it to Shama. As soon as the Ramadasi heard this, he got enraged. He even forgot to give the senna pots to Sri Sai Baba and came to a misconception that Shama, being one of the closest devotees, must have persuaded Sri Sai Baba to lie, that he is suffering from stomachache, and in the guise of which he was sent to buy senna pots merely for the sake of taking away his book. With this mistaken belief in his mind, he diverted all his anger towards Shama. He was uncontrollable and began to use abusive language on him. The stomachache was a pretext. It was you who instigated Baba. You had an eye on my book and you snatched it from me by making Sri Sai Baba the intermediary. I am a Ramadasi. I don't fear for anyone. If you refuse to give my book back, then I will dash my head in front of you and scatter my blood profusely. Ramadasi was not his name. This is a name given to a sect of people who adhere to a specific lifestyle. They do Parayanam of the Poti every day and always engross in spiritual practices. Thus, the Ramadasi continued his verbal attack on Shama by saying, You do not know my stubborn nature. I will not compromise with anything. If you refuse to return the book, then the consequences will be worse. Shama tried his best to make him understand that he was not at all aware of the play of Sri Sai Baba and he had no intentions to take his book. Whereas Ramadasi was not ready to listen to Shama, instead kept mortifying Shama thus. You executed this drama for the sake of coveting my book and now trying to blame it on Sri Sai Baba. As the Ramadasi was not even considerate to listen to the words of Shama and didn't get pacified, Madhav Rao said, Why are you accusing me falsely? You are making a big fuss out of this. If you don't have faith in Baba, then shameful is your existence. What is so special about your book? Is it bedecked with gold and studded with precious gems? I have no interest for your book. It is not a rarity. Sri Sai Baba was watching all that was happening and now began to speak in a very sweet tone. Ramadasi, why do you behave like this? Is Shyama not our boy? Why do you want to fight like this and create an unpleasant scene here? You are reading these books regularly, but your mind is still impure. How is that you are unable to speak kind words despite reading the great epics and chanting Sri Vishnu Sahasranama regularly? You are still unable to control your passions. What kind of Ramadasi are you? Should you not be detached? Whereas you are not even able to overcome your desire to possess the book. How can you be still called a Ramadasi? A true Ramadasi must have samatha but not mamata, which means a true Ramadasi is one who has given up all attachments and treat everyone with equanimity. Devotees, the use of assonance in Sri Sai's statement is astounding. Being an avatar of Lord Hanuman is known for communicative competence. The non-Marathi readers unfortunately get to read only the translated version of the original text, and there is always a loss in translation. The original dialogues of Sri Sai Baba have a commanding tone, greater intent, and imposing style that cannot be resonated when translated. Likewise, in the recent episode, we heard a statement that says people search Brahma in books, but ultimately what they get is Brahma, which implies they are trying to find God in books, but what they get is just illusion. Let me give another instance in this connection. Once, an ardent devotee by named S.B. Dumal, a famous lawyer, approached Sri Sai Baba through Shyama to take his opinion about going to London to study for the bar. Shyama went and asked Sri Sai if Dumal was to be sent to Vilayat. Baba said, no, his Hayat and Vilayat are not in Vilayat, but in this country, which means God's will and his fate are not in favor of him going to a foreign land. Sri Sai Baba continues, you're trying to create enmity with Shyama for a mere book and even ready to have a fight for this sake? Go and sit calmly in a place. Books can be easily procured, but not people. Remember this. Shyama never wanted your book. He had no knowledge of it. I picked it up and gave it to him. You have been reciting it for a very long time and know it by heart. I want to give this to Shyama and make him learn to recite it, as that would grant him greater benefits. A Ramadasi must have Chitta Shuddhi, which means purity of mind. This is the most important trait, and unless it is achieved, a person cannot attain self-realization, which is the greatest of all physical and spiritual perfection, said Sri Sai Baba. After Sri Sai Baba gave an intricate talk on this subject, the Ramadasi was convinced and told Shyama, okay, you keep the poti, but in return, give me the Pancharatni Gita. Shyama was happy that the temper of Ramadasi has come down. He gladly agreed to give the book to him and said, not just one, I am even ready to give 10 copies of that book. Thus, the glory of reciting Sri Vishnu Sahasranama and the significance of ceaselessly chanting the Lord's holy name was imparted by Sri Sai Baba to Shyama and others. The Ramadasi also learned the lesson that he must never have any attachments and treat everyone equally. As Sri Sai Baba revealed a moral lesson to the Ramadasi, similar one was done by Sri Akalkot Maharaj to Appaji Bua Ramadasi. A Ramadasi is expected to possess certain qualities, failing in which guidelines are underscored to them by the Mahapurush for them to adhere. Let's now listen to the story related to Appaji Bua Ramadasi, an ardent devotee of Sri Akkalkot Maharaj. He was a great scholar in Veda and Vedic literatures and would give elaborate discourses on these subjects. His kirtans were listened to by the audience with rapt attention. He was well versed in all the Shastras, but was puffed with pride and ego that he was a great Pandit and had high command over all the subjects. Once he came to Akkalkot for Maharaj's darshan. Sri Akkalkot Maharaj decided to teach him a lesson by suppressing his ego and arrogance. So that day he didn't give him darshan and neglected him. Appaji Bua Ramadasi couldn't tolerate the fact that he couldn't get to have the darshan of Sri Akkalkot Maharaj. This was a great blow to his ego. Next day, he had to go back to his hometown. Hence, he woke up before dawn and went to have Swami Samarth's darshan. Swami Samarth came out of his room and to everyone's surprise, he sat on top of a pile of cow dung. As Sri Swami Samarth chose to sit there, all his other devotees also came and sat there. When Appaji Bua came in search of Swami Samarth, he was told that Swami is seated on the cow dung. Swami Samarth noticed him but ignored him and told two of his devotees to bring 2 jugs of water. Immediately, 2 jugs of water were brought and was handed over to Swami Akkalkot Maharaj. He instantly held it upside down and emptied the jugs completely and placed them next to him. Through this demonstration, Swami Samarth gave the insight to the Ramadasi that if one's mind is already filled with pride and ego, then spirituality cannot be filled into it. Appaji Bua Ramadasi witnessed this demonstration and realized his folly. Following which, Swamiji said, without pure consciousness, if one would merely read the Pothi and other religious scriptures, that might give him some knowledge, but that will not lead to spiritual wisdom or cannot be considered as spiritual progress, as it will not help them to attain self-realization. Gaining knowledge from scriptures by simply reading it is interpreted as the heavy load of goods carried by a donkey. The one who does not have purity of mind is considered as a donkey and he gains the same importance as that of the donkey, said Swami Samarth. That very moment, Appaji Bua Ramadasi's ego and pride vanished. He became a very humble and good-natured person. This incredible story is narrated in the biography of Swami Akkalkot Maharaj. It is parallel to the Leela that took place at Dwarakamai as narrated in this chapter of Sri Sai Satcharitra. Getting back to the original thread, when Sri Sai Baba handed over Sri Vishnu Sahasranama to Shama, he was reluctant to take it and reasoned it to Sri Sai that the Ramadasi was an ill-tempered person and possessive about his books, will get angry at him, so he doesn't want it, and added, "Oh Deva, I am a rustic villager and cannot pronounce the Sanskrit syllables properly. Hence, I don't need this book." But Sri Sai Baba, knowing its greatness, forced this book upon him as he knew that this is the easiest way to purify one's mind and can save him from all sins and free from the cycle of birth and death, says Hemat Panji. So, after Shama received this book from Sri Sai Baba, Gaga Sahib Dikshit and Professor Ganesh Govind Narke, son-in-law of Sriman Bhuti, who were competent in reciting the slokas, taught and steered Shyama at every step to learn it perfectly. In the later years, Shyama gained proficiency to the extent that he was competent enough to expound certain intricate meanings of it to Gaga Sahib Dikshit, and Professor Narke says Anna Sahib Gavankar in his Shirdiche Sai Baba book. This is a testimony to the fact that when Sadguru Sri Sai Baba initiates something, then undoubtedly that devotee will gain expertise, knowledge and attain the complete benefit out of it. Though not much is mentioned about G.G. Narke in Sri Sai Satcharitra, a lot of miracles have been shared by him during his interview with Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji, and those have been recorded and published by Swamiji in the Sai literature titled Devotees' Experiences. Sriman Bhuti was the most ardent devotee who constructed the present Samadhi Mandir of Sri Sai Baba at Shirdi. G.G. Narke became a staunch devotee of Sri Sai Baba after getting married to Sriman Bhuti's daughter, as she was a great devotee of Sri Sainath Maharaj. G.G. Narke's mother was a fervent devotee, and Sri Sai was also very affectionate to her. G.G. Narke quotes an instance to portray Sri Sai's caring fondness for his mother in one of his interviews. He says, whenever she came for darshan, Sri Sai would dance with merriment. Such was his expression in acknowledgement of her loving devotion. Among the highly placed and notable devotees who had direct contact with Sri Sai Baba, G.G. Narke was one. He was a mining, metallurgy and geological expert and served in many prestigious organizations. The family members were greatly devoted to Sri Sai Baba, hence encouraged him to go to Shirdi after he returned from England pursuing his higher education. When he came to Shirdi for the first time, Shyama introduced him to Sri Sai Baba, and Sri Sai replied, "You are introducing him to me? I have known him for 30 generations." Sri Sai had revealed his Rinanabandh with some great devotees time to time. Here, great devotees mean those who are spiritually elevated souls, and let us see who are those blessed ones now. Sri Sai Baba used the word known for generations to Balaram Durandar. A mention is made in chapter 50 of Sri Sai Satcharitra, where even before he arrived with his brothers, Sri Sai declared at Dwarakamayi that people from my darbar are arriving and relate to me for the past 60 generations. Time period for one generation can be roughly estimated from 10 to 30 years. To some, Sri Sai would say that the devotee is associated with him for many births. As far as Shyama is concerned, Sri Sai asserted that their bondage is for 72 births, and when it was about Purandare, Sri Sai affirmed that he was known to him for 700 years. Then to Chandrabai Borkar, Sri Sai said he knew her for 7 births. So Narke was one among these greatest devotees who had ties with Sri Sai Baba for many generations. Now, let's listen to another interesting Leela connected with Narke. One day, during the morning Arati, the masjid was flooded with devotees, and Narke was also present there. At that very moment, for unknown reasons, Sri Sai Baba got enraged and began to let out torrent of abuses, ran hither and thither, threatening someone. This scene was unintelligible for Narke and thought, is Sri Sai Baba an insane person? Later, at the time of Noon Arati, when Narke went for darshan, Sri Sai stroked his head gently and said, Are Narke, I am not a mad person. Narke was astounded as Sri Sai Baba even knew the passing thought he had in his mind that morning. He realized that Sri Sai was omniscient and omnipresent, as he could so vividly remark even a small thought that arose in his mind. There are more inexplicable Leelas which we shall heed in the coming episode. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.